Welcome back to Middle School Speaks, a podcast where middle school students speak their mind. On today's episode, we are covering whether electric cars are a solution to pollution. I'm your host, Lucy, and I believe that electric cars are a solution to pollution. I believe this because there are many solutions, and electric cars are sure one of them. Ava, would you like to introduce yourself?
Of course. I'm Ava, a 13-year-old 7th grade student, and I will be arguing that electric cars are not a solution to pollution. I originally chose this topic because I felt like there were many dirty secrets behind electric cars that many people didn't know about. Now that we've introduced ourselves, let's get started. First off, the manufacturing process of an EV is extremely messy, and every Tesla battery requires between 23,000 and 32,000 pounds of carbon emissions.
Yes, that is true, but gas-powered cars still produce more carbon emissions in the long run, and their manufacturing isn't as clean as people think it is.
Yes, but that doesn't make an EV's manufacturing process any better.
Well, according to my calculations, gas-powered cars produce 7 tons of carbon dioxide while being made in 4.6 tons per year, which calculates to 11.6, while electric cars produce 11 tons being made and less than 1 ton per year, or 0.5. When you add that all together, it comes out to gas-powered cars producing 11.6 tons, while EVs only produce 11.5. Even though that is still 0.1 ton of a difference, it's still a big difference in our Earth. Now, my next point is that EVs produce less carbon while driving than gas-powered cars.
That's a nice point, but gas-powered cars don't release as much carbon as people exaggerate them to. They only produce about 1% of the carbon that they did in the 1960s. And gas cars are still going to continue to improve. Now let's move to my next point. Important materials have to be taken from Earth to create these electric batteries, like lithium, cobalt, and nickel.
I see your point, but these items need to be mined because they use less energy.
Yes, but EVs are not a solution to pollution, and they are not making a big enough difference that we should be wasting these materials when they're used to create everyday items like phones and laptops.
Well, EVs only produce half of the energy than combustion engines do.
Speaking of using energy, EVs do not travel their full distance that they are expected to do in cold weather.
That is an interesting point, but efficiency is not as important as environmental concerns.
But people have important jobs to get to, like nurses and people who work at hospitals.
That's why there are other variations of electric vehicles such as HEVs, which are able to be run on a combustion engine or a gas-powered car or on a battery. So if you need to travel long distances or in cold weather, you can switch to the combustion engine part, which uses gas. Or if you're traveling short distances, you can just use the battery to run your car.
But also, where you live matters. If you drive a car in a country that produces a lot of carbon dioxide, you driving an electric car isn't really making a difference.
I see where you're going, but even if it's just a little bit, that still helps our planet a bunch.
Yes, that is true, but America gets most of its electricity from natural gas, which does pollute the air a significant amount.
I'm not saying that does not change that. I'm saying that EVs producing less carbon dioxide still helps our Earth, even if it's just by a little amount. That brings me to my next point. EVs only have to be charged and do not have to take gas from the Earth.
That's a nice thought, but generating the energy to charge an EV also produces carbon dioxide.
I see what you're talking about, but everything we do produces carbon dioxide.
Yes, that is true, but most of our daily things do not produce as much carbon as charging an EV does.
Yes, but EVs are a much bigger thing than the stuff that we have in our daily lives.
All your points are nice, but if electric vehicles are only a little bit better than gas-powered cars, they're not making pollution better. A little bit is not going to solve all of our pollution problems.
I see where you're going, and I agree with you. But I'm not saying that electric cars are going to solve every single problem of pollution. I'm just saying that's going to solve a tiny bit, and a tiny bit still matters when it comes to pollution.
I believe that we need something better than an EV and, of course, better than a gas car. We need something that travels efficiently but doesn't fill the air with tons of carbon dioxide.
I agree. We need to find something better for our planet, but at the moment, I do not think we have found that yet.
Yes, but I think that should be one of our main focuses, finding a better travel system for our environment.
Yes, I agree with you.
Thank you for watching Middle School Speaks.
A podcast where middle school students speak their mind.
We hope we were able to provide helpful insights about electric cars.
And again, I'm your host, Lucy.
And I'm your co-host, Avery.
And be sure to join us on our next episode.
Thank you for listening.